All right. Hello, everybody. And welcome to another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink. Do you have anything? Oh, look at that.
I do.
Clink and drink.
You'll learn that is spoken quite frequently.
Clink and drink, we say quite a bit.
Okay.
I am your hostess with the mostest, Lola Stardust. And before we start our show and talk to this wonderful, beautiful woman that we are looking at with that gorgeous hair color that I'm so envious of, I want to give a disclaimer. So this show is called Witches and Wine, and we do partake in wine. And what's the saying? Veritas.
In vino and veritas.
In vino veritas, which is
in truth.
Wine.
In wine there is truth.
In wine there is truth. So sometimes we get a little chatty and get a little like, ha. And some people I've heard don't like that we do that sometimes. So we have this wonderful thing that you can do. It's an X in the corner of your screen,
right,
and all you got to do is click that X, and you don't have to watch us. Yay! Okay. So before we get started, I'd like to turn this over to our wine connoisseur, my husband, my high priest, my partner in crime, Silent Stardust. Why don't you tell us about the wine we're drinking tonight?
Well, tonight we have stayed here in Washington for the bottle. It's from Quilceda Creek Vineyards. The Columbia Valley Red. It's a classic Poliac style blend, very cab dominant with a small amount of Merlot and Cab Franc. Big, dark, chewy, it's just gorgeous wine.
Heavy.
Yeah, full body.
Yeah.
It has nice cedar notes in it. It has some cassis, a little bit of black cherry, and a little sandalwood, which is awesome. Not an inexpensive bottle.
It's expensive.
You're going to find it between $70 and $100 a bottle.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful. Most recent rating on this vintage was 95 points from Jeb Dunnick. So if you want to try a really excellent Washington cab, try this guy out.
This is amazing.
Yep. We wanted an amazing wine for an amazing woman.
Yes.
We choose our wine for our guests.
We went all out.
Thank you.
We went a little highbrow with but we get it for free because.
That's better.
We can't say where I worked at.
I'm not going to say where you work.
Okay.
I just say we get it for free.
Yep.
So
you need a website that lists all these wonderful wines, little descriptions, so we can go reference it.
On every episode of the show, you can actually see it in the notes.
I put it in the description, the YouTube description. So
we actually list every one of them.
So everyone can know what we're drinking. And yeah, that's what makes
wonderful.
our show a little different from other shows is we like to educate people on the wine we're drinking. And
it's lovely.
And sometimes we drink box wine and it's really cheap, and we'll let them know that this is right out of the box. It's cheap. It's $5. Have fun. So
every budget can partake.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
We have $10 bottles, $15 bottles, and then we have 40, 50, and then sometimes we get up near 100.
Yep.
It's just kind of based on what we're feeling that day and who our guest is. And
well, thank you, honey, for this beautiful bottle of wine. So let's get to our guest. I'm so excited. So I know this woman from Wiccan Seminary. I was one of her students in one of her a couple of your classes, I think, some healing classes. I worked with you. You were the dean of ministry. I did that for about a year, and then I retired. I like how I say retired. But I had other things I needed to do. So
yes, you do. Yeah.
I had a lot on my plate, and that's just how it works out. But this is the wonderful Stacia Schmidt. Stacia, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
And can you just do a little introduction, like who you are, what you do, all the titles?
All the titles. I know, it makes me a little flustered. My name is Stacia Schmidt. Also, you'll see me Stacia Sylvester. I am the High Maiden of the ATC, and that's a recent title. I recently accepted that position. I'm very honored to do that work. Big deal for me. And so I get to help support the Mother Church the archpriest and priestess, and in the mission as we move forward into this brave new world that we have no idea what it will be. I am the high priestess for Covenant of Wise, which was Bella's coven in Georgia. Lady Belladonna, if you don't know, she's the archpriestess of the ATC.
Had her
so she, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I saw her last week.
Yeah.
Her original coven was here in Georgia. And then she moved to Washington to train to be the archpriestess and lived with Pete Davis for a number of years before she became the archpriest. And so I was the High Maiden here when she left, and I held the coven for a while. And then when it became more of an official position, she gave the coven to me officially. So I stepped into the High Priestess role. Let's see, what else? I was the Dean of Ministry. Now Daryl is the Dean of Ministry when I became the Maiden. And I did that for so many years. With the WiccanSeminary.edu has been around online on the internet for over 10 years. Prior to that, it was Wise Seminary. So that's been, so the seminary's been in existence since 2000 or 1999, I think. So it's been around a long, long time. And then it just continues to grow and become what it is today. So I was the Dean of Ministry for a while, and we built that, and that was really exciting. We sat in Bella's office, Cara, Lady Cara, Bella, and I, and Lord Dusty, and me worked on the seminary, and made it happen. Those are fun days.
Yes, I've heard the stories, and I bet it makes you proud to see how much it's grown. It's just, I don't know if you know, but the enrollment for the school has gone up quite a bit since they moved it off of Second Life.
So I haven't noticed.
Yeah, I'm just getting this from enrollment people and whatnot, but it's more people are interested. I think Second Life, as much as it was a wonderful tool to use, and we got to experience magic in a way that was really awesome, I think we're now moving on to just having more access video chatting and whatnot. So that seems to be the way that we're going. But I think people are much more interested in the school now that it's moved off of Second Life. I think because it had that thing that it was a video game, and people were like, I'm not going to go play a video. And then once they saw it, they were like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah.
And it had a steep learning curve and, things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think when we first started that, the technology really wasn't present. We had Skype, and Skype was so irregular. Sometimes you'd have a good connection, sometimes you didn't. And but now we have Teams, and it's fabulous.
Teams has been great. It's been great. I wanted to ask you about, you were saying, so the coven that you're now the high priestess of, how many people are in that coven? Because I don't hear a lot about that coven.
We right now we've closed it. So there's only 4 of us. We've closed the coven for now. And I'm not sure when we're going to open it back up. It's just life happened, and that is part of the evolution of covens. They contract and they expand, and they contract and expand, and we're in a contraction right now. We still have members, and we still love each other, and we still circle sometimes. We still connect with each other, but we're not serving the community per se right now.
Okay.
We're all pursuing our individual pursuits. And right now, honestly, I couldn't do High Maiden and the other things I do in my life. There's just not enough hours in the day.
No.
It's a lot of hats.
Well, and I think people don't realize that when we are studying this, the Wiccan Seminary, to be clergy and whatnot, I know a lot of people are like, well, aren't you just, playing, witch, just being a witch and like doing spells and like, what, and it's like, no, this is a whole different level that I was never aware of, how much work it is. Like,
it really is.
Clergy, and to run a coven and to serve your community and to do all that. I'm constantly like, oh my gosh, and there's so much more that I'm learning to do, and so I try to bring that up in our show, that to say that this is real work. Like we are doing as Wiccans, we're doing real work and we're trying to make change and we're trying to better our community. And that takes a lot of studying and practice. And, you know, we're not perfect. You know, there's no like set rules. It's we're kind of constantly evolving. Don't you think so? So we're always learning.
And it's like we go to school. I mean, the universe, Goddess sends us lessons.
Yes.
And so we go and then we learn this lesson and then we bring it back. And you have to learn so many different things. Like you said, so many hats.
Yes.
You're the teacher. You're the spiritual director. You're the advocate that goes to the school with your community member. You provide resources. You market. There's just on and on and on and on.
And it's pretty cool that we can utilize our skills because there's so many people that are part of the ATC, the staff that are utilizing their talents that I never thought in a million years that I would be utilizing my talent for ritual writing and for speaking out, you know, being I'm a more outgoing person. So to be that person that, you know, I'll stand up and speak and whatnot. And then just all the different things I do, my theater background, my writing background, I get to use that. And I see people who have marketing backgrounds that are using that skill, and people, you know, there's in tech, even our IT people.
Yep.
We need our IT people, especially now, you know. And so I want to talk about your background. You've got a background in therapy or counseling. Can you tell me? I always get it wrong. So,
make one point before that. I wanted to point out that one of the benefits of being part of the ATC is because you're part of a tradition, you have access to all of this wisdom, all of these elders, all of these people that know so much. You're not by yourself. You're not just, you know, you in this little isolated area. You have an expanded community of people that can help you with whatever you need help or give advice on whatever you have. So it's really nice to belong to something as big.
Yeah, it's a built-in network, and it's also there's a lot of people that are like, do I need to be part of a coven to be part of the ATC? And it's like, no, you don't. You can still practice your solitary stuff, of course, but you are connecting with people, and we're going to get to this in a minute with COVID, especially how we're connecting online and through video chats, how it's kind of it's a virtual coven, and we're all kind of part of it together. And I love that. I love that idea. But I want to talk about your background. Can we talk about your background?
Yes. So where do we start? I guess right now, I'm a clinical social worker is my title. I mean, I have the initials, you know, behind my name, so I'm fully licensed, and I provide, you know, in my mundane world, how I pay my light bill is through providing therapy services. But the reason I went into this is because many people that come to the path, they have trauma that's happened to them. They've had lots of bad experiences, and part of their seeking is figuring out ways that they can heal themselves.
Yeah.
And so I saw this need, and I was called to fill that need. So that's why I do the work I'm doing. And I'm still, like this past week, I took a 5-day training on evidence-based to deal with trauma. And I'm really excited to start working in that and see who I can help with that. So it's an ongoing, I'm still learning.
Oh, well, and we always are. We're always learning. And that's what I love about our craft and our elders and well, I guess I'm an elder too. And what I never say that.
Sweetie.
Not
You're
elder.
not much elder.
Stop it. Just because I'm almost 50 and have a bunch of gray hair, whatever.
No.
I'm a young hip elder. Anyway.
You are. You're very hip.
No, I'm not. I like to say I am.
I don't know, Lola. I think you're pretty cool.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh. Were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say, you know, everyone always, when they think when we're doing witchcraft and work, they think it's all just fun and games.
Yeah.
And they don't realize we're constantly reading, learning, finding new things out and expanding, and we're doing very little actual practicing. It's more learning about it and then finding a one-time use or a special time use to learn that new ability or craft.
Well, it's like that meme, and I brought this up before.
Yeah.
There's a meme on Facebook and other places where it says, it shows what my friends think I'm doing, and it shows,
Oh yes, I love that.
yeah, and then it says what my family thinks I'm doing, and it shows a picture of like worshiping the devil, and it's like what I think I'm doing, and it shows the person like casting spells and swirling wind, and it goes what I'm really doing, and there's a pile of books, just a pile of books and studying and writing,
and a single candle.
And a single candle, yes.
Oh, right.
It's true, but we do get to have fun, and we do get to apply our gifts, and the ATC really hones that for us with the festivals and whatnot. But we're going to talk about that. I want to talk about you as a healer and as a teacher, because and just being like on the staff with you, you're such a calming effect, and you really, like when you ran the meetings, because I remember you would run our staff meetings, and then I started running them, and I remember I would try to emulate how you did it, because you were so like, you would listen, because when you get a bunch of people working together, there's going to be times where we butt heads. There's going to be times. I'm sorry, honey. Go ahead.
I was saying, she's commanding, but she's calm.
Yes, calm and commanding.
So you were always in control. But,
yes.
but you never had to raise your voice or be stern, because everyone just, your respect everyone had for you just came through. When you spoke, people listened.
And this is the part where we kiss your ass. So.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to come here more often.
I know. It's like, we can drink and kiss Staccia's ass. I love it. I love it.
Because I had the pleasure of listening to your guys' staff meetings.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And there were
by
times,
proxy of a small house.
Yes, we have a small house, so he was everything he's learned. He heard, because we have a very tiny house, so it's like, honey, you're gonna have to hear the good, the bad, and the magical and the ugly, But what I liked about what you did is you're so, and I think it's part of your training, is that you're so respectful and you really listen. And that was the thing that I really needed to learn, because I love to talk. I don't know if you know this about me, but I love to talk. And I am a very compassionate person, and I do listen.
Oh yeah.
But you really taught about how you're the one that taught me how you would repeat it back and say, so what I hear you saying is, and I love that, because that's a wonderful way to connect and say, so what I hear you saying is this, this, and this, and that validates what they're saying. And I learned that from you, and I use it quite a bit now. It's like, so what I hear you saying is, so it's a wonderful gift. And your healing class was just, the way we did that healing class, and we talked about trauma, and we talked about the different personalities, the different types of roles that we play in a group, like group therapy, and that was really interesting. And I guess I don't have a question. I just want to say, I just think you're amazing with your healing and whatnot.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do think that one of the greatest gifts you can give somebody is to hear. In our society, we're so that be heard. Mm-hmm. So many people, they don't feel heard, and they're going through what they're going through. Yeah. Just want somebody to notice that they're struggling and they're doing the hard thing. Sometimes you don't have to help them. They just want to know that they're not alone.
Exactly. Yeah. And that is because I like to try to fix people, and sometimes they don't need to be fixed. They just need to be heard. And they will talk it out sometimes if you really listen and you give them that safe space to listen. Sometimes you'll hear them and they'll actually figure it out on their own. I know that I've done that with you when I would call you and say, Stacia, I'm having a really hard time with some past trauma or whatnot. And you would just let me talk, and you would ask the right questions, and I would figure it out. And I was like, I don't know if you did that on purpose. I don't know if but I've seen it done now that I'm using that same kind of, I'm here to listen, and I repeat back what they hear. That is such a big part of healing, is for someone is also to be heard, and also sometimes they need to figure it out on their own, and we need to give them that space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because we are all whole and holy, we are God and Goddess. And if we just hold the space, people will figure it out themselves. They know how to heal themselves. They just kind of need, maybe a nudge here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they need a sound wall so that they can hear what they're saying and not just speak to themselves.
Yes.
Because it's different when you're talking into a mirror than if you're talking into someone else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to see their reactions, voluntary and involuntary, to what you're saying, and it's going to help validate or invalidate what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
One of the hardest things that I know I have had to try to do when listening to people is to not assume that they are going to handle it the way I would handle it. And that's a really tough one for me, because I just think, because we know
how to do things.
Yeah,
just listen to us.
Yes, like this.
Yeah, right. Just do what I tell you.
But that's not the case. And I've had to learn some really big lessons about some confrontation or conflict with people, and I'll have to think back on it and go, you know what? Maybe I should have just said, I respect what you're saying, and I understand that hurts, rather than being like, I don't know where this is coming from, and blah, 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 blah. It's again, we're constantly learning. We're constantly educating ourselves. And by diving into that relationship with others and listening and speaking and whatnot, I just hope that people are getting what they need to out of it. Even if it didn't go the right way, even if the conversation went somewhere that was really hard, I like our craft because we try to see the lesson in that.
Yes, that's something I value as well. And that gives people hope.
Mm-hmm.
If they can find a lesson in the bad thing or the good thing, whatever the thing is, it does give you hope and purpose that, to keep going.
Yes, absolutely. And you've just been you're really good at that. And we just appreciate it. I've told Phil, or Silenus, I've told him, I miss talking to Stacia. It's just like when I left the staff, but I'm still kind of part of the staff because I've become Bella's personal assistant. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, because she needs one.
She does. No, when she's here, I was her personal assistant. No, she needs one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I offered those services because I like to organize, and I like to, keep on top of things, and I put things. It's that Capricorn in me, and Are you a Capricorn?
I am.
I know, that's right. I knew there was a reason why I liked her.
She's kind of bossy.
Oh no.
Oh no! My mother used to laugh at me. I used to line up my friends in the yard and march them around. So when I was like,
I kind of did that too.
Did you do that? Okay, see. Yeah, that's a Capricorn thing.
She's like, so what you need to do is she wanted me priestessing that night, and she'll be still telling us what we need to do to run the ritual.
I've gotten better
Yes,
because I did catch myself when I would have my maiden run a ritual, or our first degrees do something, and I'm so used to doing it, and then they would do it, and I'd be like, oh, you forgot this, or maybe you try. And then I realized they're never gonna learn if I don't let them make the mistakes, and it's not even really mistakes. It's just they'll realize what works and what doesn't work for them. And so I've gotten a lot better. I really have, but it took a while because I'm a little bossy.
I understand.
You understand, yes. So, how has COVID been working? What have you been doing? I know are you working away from your clients, or are you doing online? What's going on with that with you?
For a while, I did just virtual. I had a couple clients that were telehealth already. So when we moved, when COVID hit, it wasn't such a crisis for me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'd had the experience with the seminary, so it wasn't that big a deal for me, really.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, I moved all my clients to telehealth. And then over the last a couple of months ago, about June, folks started really struggling. And there were people, especially the people that tend to be older,
Yeah.
they just aren't resonating with the telehealth.
They need
Yeah.
the face-to-face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agreed to go back. And so I see some clients in person.
Yeah.
I'm in the office almost every day now because I also do administrative stuff.
Well, and rules are a lot more relaxed down in Georgia compared to here in Washington.
Yeah, I think your guys' face-to-face is a little more, I don't know what phase you're in. I don't even understand the phases.
Oh, it's a little scary down here because they're like, whoa, wearing your mask under your nose.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
there's so many little things that you have to help people.
Yeah.
Let's wear our mask the way we're supposed to.
Yes.
Socially distant.
Yes. Yes. So that has it been, so obviously with the training at the school, because the school was all online, and so it's kind of like the Wiccan Seminary has been preparing us for this, what's happening. Don't you think so?
In so many ways.
Oh, it's weird.
A hidden benefit that was, an unknown consequence, or not consequence, but feature.
Feature, yes.
Is it prepared us and those who attended there to prepare for the world when we couldn't go face to face.
Yes.
Well, in Spring Mysteries, it was amazing how quickly.
Yes, it was amazing. 3 weeks, and you guys pulled that off.
I couldn't believe we did that. I had my doubts when I heard we were going online, because I just thought we were going to cancel it.
Yep.
And then when they said 3 weeks to go, it was like, we're moving it online. And I was like, how is this going to work? How are you guys going to, because I was on
You were part of the staff though, right?
Yeah. Yes.
You made that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't think I'd be able to, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, how is this, and it was great. And the ATC was one of the first to start doing.
Wasn't it the first?
I think we were the first.
I was pretty sure that you guys,
So.
the ATC was the first virtual
festival
in COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to go fully online, no in person at all.
And now look at all the ones that are doing it now. It's like, it's kind of cool that we started that.
Well, speaking of that, you guys have another one coming up here.
Yeah, we have Hecate Sickle coming up.
Yeah, the weekend of the 18th of October. So that's rolling up fast.
Yeah. What days is it?
18th through the 21st.
No,
Thank you.
Is it?
18th, 19th, 20th, 21st.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh my God! No, I thought it was.
No, I have the time off. It starts on the 18th and ends on the 21st.
You're lying.
No, that's how calendars work, honey.
He checked. He's done his homework.
I'm checking no, see, it's the 15th through the 18th.
Oh.
See, it's it's Thursday the 15th through Sunday the 18th.
See, you just said the numbers wrong.
The reason why I know this is because I am the workshop coordinator, so I got to keep track of who's doing their workshops on what. So, have you been involved with it? Are you doing anything special, or?
No, I'm not involved with the running of Hecate Sickle this time.
But you'll be there, obviously.
Oh yes, definitely, I'll be there.
It's going to be really cool. It's going to be so exciting, and yet again, I was like, because maybe it's the Capricorn brain, I don't know, but I just feel like I don't know how they're going to pull this off because of the theme they were doing. But now that I've seen and been behind the scenes, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be awesome. So,
can I ask, are you excited to be an attendee and not in a staff position?
I must admit I am. It's really exciting. So it's like, I get to, observe from the audience, and that's fun.
Yeah.
Lola and I have been contributing on mysteries for the last few years, and so I haven't seen the mysteries in person in 4 years now.
Yeah, we were always behind the scenes.
Because I'm behind stage.
Yeah, we were.
Right.
I've
seen you.
Yeah, we did stage managing and all sorts of stuff, and we never really got to experience.
We did our lesser and our greater. Then after that, we've been working the whole time.
Yeah.
We haven't got to experience anything since then. Our first 2 years was fun. The rest has all been work.
This has been work. But
Well, the path does have a lot of service involved.
Yes, and I was going to say, isn't that interesting that it brings us to this point where we want to
Do more.
we want to do more and we want to help, and that's what I love about the craft and especially with ATC, is that it really teaches us that a huge part of being able to lead a circle or to run things or whatever, you have to contribute your sacred service to the gods.
And through your sacred service, you also connect and create relationships with the other people that are doing that work.
Mm-hmm.
And so you grow together and you bond, and there's just a wealth of stuff that you get in return.
Oh yeah, no, I've gained much more in being behind the scenes and getting to experience everything on the backside compared to seeing it in person. But it was just it's a whole different manner of beast, and I can imagine it'd be nice to step back and just get to enjoy.
I would like to. I've told Bella I want to sit back and watch it as a participant, and she says, "Oh, you know that you really don't want to do that." you know, she goes, "You're like me. You feel that and she's so right, and I hate when Bella's right, but she tells me that you need to be part of creating it, and it calls you, and it really does, because if I take a break and I'm not, I feel like I'm like there's this pool, you know what I mean? And
no, I know what you mean, because I'm stepping out, and it's like, oh. But so it'll make me be, more excited about the next thing.
Well, especially as a Capricorn, I think you should. Oh no, I don't think you should do nothing.
Yeah.
It's really hard sometimes.
I can only imagine for both of you two how hard it is. I've seen her stumble over it, so I can only imagine for you being, as long as you've been working in the craft and in leadership roles with the ADC.
So how long have you known, and for those who have not watched our show before or don't know who we're talking about Belladonna Laveau, the Archpriestess of the ATC. She's been on our show like
5 times?
5 times.
Oh, wow.
She's our
most frequent guest.
Yes, she's our most frequent guest.
But
she
she's
loves
also our Archpriestess, so it kind of makes sense.
She's fabulous.
Yeah. Well, and we just have a great time when she's on. But how long have you known Bella? You've known her for a long time, haven't you?
Well, I mean, I've known her since 2006.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not that long. But it does seem like so long.
That's almost
because it's almost 15 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, I guess that is a long time. And it was just, and what's so funny is, I started the path, and Goddess was like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And was just, ride me back here, back of the head. And I started seeking, and Bella was around the corner. I could walk from my house, from my subdivision to her house. Right? It would be a long walk. So it was like half a mile. But, I mean, it was certainly walkable.
Yeah.
And down the street, it's like, people say there's not a plan, there is such a plan.
Yeah.
Things happen the way they're supposed to. There are patterns, it just lined up. And then we did the work, and it just all fell into place.
Yeah.
So,
you said you were seeking. How long had you been practicing or dabbling before that? As we reflect on our lives, we see the patterns. And I feel like Goddess started training me when I was a little girl.
Yep.
I had, I was drawn to the books that were on the bookshelf that I would page through, and the mythology. I read all of the mythology in 6th grade. That whole summer, I sat there in the library just reading mythology, book after book after book. I just couldn't get enough. So I was always drawn to the Greek myths. And so then in my 20s, I discovered a Middle Ages reenactment group that taught me so many skills. It taught me how to manage volunteers, hierarchy, because Wicca has hierarchical structure, and respecting that is important.
It is.
It taught me the importance of service, that, many hands make light of work. Yeah. It taught me respect, how to, that everybody wants to be appreciated, and to honor everybody's work and everybody's contribution, how to be creative. I never thought I was creative till I joined this organization because I couldn't draw. I draw stick figures, but I'm so creative. I make costumes and I bead and I make candles and I cook and I do all kinds of things. I'm very, very creative. And I didn't realize that. And all of those things that I learned in this organization, it was like my training for being a priestess. When I reached Bella, she taught me the spirituality stuff and the foundation there, but I had so many other components. I knew how to run a large group. I knew how to cook for 300 people. I knew these things.
And that's amazing. It's weird where our training comes from, and it's not necessarily Wiccan related, because I know a lot of mine I learned was I was in Job's Daughters. And so that was, and Job's Daughters taught me ritual. I was like 15 years old. And anyone who doesn't know what Job's Daughters is, that's a Masonic, that's the daughters of the Masons. And they talk about, it's based on the biblical Job and his daughters.
It's Catholic witchcraft.
But it was Catholic.
I was raised Catholic. Yeah. So I love ritual. Yeah. Continue.
I was to full Latin Mass. I'm not Muhammad, raised lower. Everything.
Really?
Yes.
So let me say, I have a beef when I was growing up, and I would sit there and watch the altar boys. I thought it was so unfair that I couldn't be an altar boy because I wanted to be an altar boy. No, it's just not fair.
After hearing all these stories, did you really want to be an altar boy?
No. You're right.
So,
not yet, boy.
So my experiences where I went was in the Seattle area, one of the largest Catholic temples in Seattle. Catholic churches. We're talking 25, 30 foot tall stained glass all the way down, all 12 apostles posted, 40 foot tall Jesus.
That's imposing.
Yes. 1,500 people in the congregation.
Jeez, that's
wow.
We're talking massive Catholicism.
Yeah.
And it never spoke to me. I always felt small, insignificant, and not welcome.
Yeah.
And I've said it in episodes in the past. My parents gave me the choice later on if I wanted to follow that path, and I went away from it. Didn't speak to me.
Yeah.
The first time I ever had any kind of spiritual calling was Wicca, and it was through her and her practice and being in
and Spring Mysteries, the first Spring Mysteries that we went to. He just said, I want to go, and he went, and he came back. Like, it was really cool to see someone that I always thought, like, because we never really agreed on our spirituality. Mm-hmm. I'm very much, I love spirituality and I love religion. I love studying it. I love knowing all the different gods' names and how they worship, and
the nuances.
Comparative spirituality, comparative theology is a love of mine. Mm-hmm. And so I was always like, oh my goodness, and he was like, no, he was he would say he was atheist, but I feel he was agnostic. I feel that he believed something he just didn't know yet, but I never pushed him. And then he's like, I want to go to Spring Mysteries with you. And I'm like, okay. And he went, and he came back, and he was like, it was like it changed him. It woke him up. And I can't even begin to explain that to people who haven't been to the mysteries, what it does to you. Like, it just, it changes.
It was the experience of talking to people invoked as the deities and them not being the same person I saw walking around me when they weren't invoked.
Yes. It changes you.
And
you experience it.
I will have to give Daryl Delph the full credit of
Poseidon.
I have never been so cowed in my life.
Yeah.
From awesome energy of, I am way more powerful than you, and you need to recognize this.
Yeah, he went and talked to Poseidon, Daryl Delph's Poseidon, and it changed him. And we always tell Daryl, thank you. Your Poseidon made this man a believer in something, because that's all I wanted. He didn't have to believe in Wicca, but I just you got to believe that there's something out there. Now, you've been many roles at Spring Mysteries. Can you tell us what roles you've been? What goddesses?
No, I haven't. I've only been in the mysteries once. I was Hestia.
Oh, okay.
And then I was a Nana for several years for the AAOP.
Okay.
And then, but we did a very, very much smaller version of the mysteries at the Coven in Georgia.
Okay.
So we were doing some of the recreation
Yeah.
here. And so I had many of those roles. I was Demeter and Persephone and several different.
Well, your Hestia was.
Yeah, your Hestia was amazing.
You were so Hestia. You. I loved it.
Oh, thanks. It was so fun. I was so honored to be part of it. It was really exciting.
Hestia is my patron goddess, so
yeah,
I have no issue with anyone that does
He's
Hestia.
a priest of Hestia, which this makes me love because he loves the kitchen and
the homemaking and taking care of others and home.
Yeah, he's very much my Hestia.
Oh, the flame.
Yes, he does. I love it. So
that's really cool.
Let's talk about how have you been? What's going on with you and COVID right now? I know we talked about how it affects your work, but what do you feel? Because I've talked to several people who have wonderful insight, and not just COVID, but everything that's going on. And we don't have to get too political, but just everything. The world is broken, right? It's broken right now.
It is.
What do you think? How do you feel as someone who is a healer, someone who's a witch? What do you think we have a chance? What do you think we need to do? Like, seriously, I want to know.
There's so many questions there. Okay, so I'll just kind of orally process here. I think that the Uranus and Pluto are in opposition. They were in this alignment in the 60s. And so we had a lot of social unrest, and we're repeating that pattern repeats. And now we're having social unrest, and it's an adjustment. It's a time of breaking down structures that aren't working. There are so much that is not working. It's not okay that certain people are oppressed because they look different or they have different belief systems. It's not okay. No. We're evolving. I believe that we are evolving as a people, and we're just saying it's not okay, and we're not going to have it. And the people following us, the young people, the early 20s, they're really intolerant of this. They're like, I don't know what you old people have decided. Okay, but we want a different reality. Thank you very much. We're not going to have it. And I support that. I think that we need to change. If we don't change, we learn this, and change is constant. If we don't change, we stagnate and die. Change is, Bella is the goddess of change. Yes. Always change. She teaches her students lessons in flexibility. We have to be willing to change. When we're not willing, when we're so rigid, it's time to check out of this incarnation and go to the next. Yes. We have to be flexible, and we have to consider, even when things don't resonate, because another thing I learned in my studies is that we don't recognize our own prejudices. And when we have privilege, and we don't always notice until somebody points it out to us. Yeah. So be open to considering, even when it goes twang, surely not me. Just take a moment and try to set aside your ego and consider that maybe you, but it's okay. You can grow from this. It's an opportunity. Again, back to that lesson. Lessons have opportunities. Lessons allow us to grow. Yes. So I think this is a big, big growing opportunity, and I'm hoping that people are taking advantage of it. I know that there's a lot of pessimism right now because it's scary, but I tend to be an optimistic person in general, and I do feel optimistic. I do feel that there are so many bright things about humanity, and that we can overcome and be more than we currently are. Remember back in the early 2000s, when was the conjunction? It was 98, 99. Anyway, when the planet was evolving and going to the next level. Yeah. And so the planet was leveling up, and we're being called to level up with her. We're behind because she did it first. And so, some of us got on the bandwagon then and went up. but the rest of us, many of us are behind and we're struggling to meet that vibration, but we have to.
Yes.
We have to, or we'll be one of the people that's cold.
Yes. And you're so
like the great calling.
Yeah, and I feel this is it too. And I had this conversation with you. I feel that because we are in a practice of evolution and transformation, I don't really worry too much about us. And when I say us, I mean those who are spiritually evolving. And it doesn't have to be through Wicca. It doesn't have to be through. It can be through any
there are many paths.
Yes, many, many paths. And I feel that we understand that this is a necessity, and we will go with the flow, even and it's hard, and we'll fight it sometimes, but again, finding those lessons, because when we resist, that's when it takes us down. That's when we start to go into depression and get sick, and we almost give in to the negativity. So you do have to be able to fight it. And we have so many people that are fighting it on different levels. We have those people that are out there doing the marches, and and we were talking about how Roman was saying,
our young soldiers are doing the foot fight.
Yes.
Our older soldiers are doing the intellectual fight of pointing out the hypocrisies. But our bodies can no longer be out there on the front line. That's why we have the next generation to fight the physical fight, while we fight the political fight.
And we fight
that.
We fight the spiritual.
And that came from Roman Delgado.
Yeah. And Roman Delgado said that.
He's the one that brought that concept to us. And we said, we appreciated that, because that's very much true. Is, you get older, you learn how to affect things differently. But when you're young, you have that vibrancy, you have that energy. You can be out there on the front lines, speaking the peace and fighting the good fight, where those of us who can't be out there because of life situations.
Well, we have children and we have responsibilities.
Life evolves.
And I'm a coward. I don't want to get pepper sprayed. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, but we have those people that will go out there and they'll take that for us. But we're all warriors in this. And it's just, what kind of warrior are we?
I agree. There are many ways of serving in this evolution. And I want to remember, if nothing else, vote. Yeah. Whatever your conscience pulls you to what side.
Yeah.
Just use your voice and vote.
Yep.
Yes.
It's a start. But it's something we take for granted in this country that we shouldn't, because not everybody gets to do this.
Like Australia, where Australia and other countries where it's compulsory, you are required to vote.
Like that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You can't bitch about it if you don't participate in it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, if you participate in it and it doesn't go your way, you have every right to point out things that aren't going right with how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if things are going right, you can also say, "Hey, I helped contribute to this."
Yeah.
So it can be the positive or the negative, and so you can be the compelling, keep it going, or it's time for change.
Time for change. Yeah.
But we cannot be apathetic.
No.
We cannot stick our heads in the sand anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Because it is possible that there could be a world where it's not okay to be pagan. It's not okay to be Wiccan. Yeah. We don't want that world. We don't want that reality. So we have to be active in creating the reality we wish.
We've covered in the past of the under his eye. If you know anything of the
Handmaid's Tale, they say under his eye, and it's very. It's a little too prophetic. That's why I can't watch Handmaid's Tale anymore.
I read the book way back, and it's like, no, why not reading that or not watching that show? No.
The series is really disturbing. It's really good, but I had to stop watching it because it was hitting too close to what's going on, and I'm like, I don't want to see that. I'm afraid it's gonna. I'm like, no. But don't you think it starts at home?
It does.
Because I feel that I've got children that.
Everything are learned behaviors. You're not born anything.
Yeah.
What you're taught is what you're exposed to. So if you're exposed to tolerance and acceptance of others, you're going to be more tolerant and acceptant. If you're taught that people are to be treated negatively if they don't act like you, look like you, think like you,
then that's what you're
going to think. And that's going to keep the separation constant.
So I always feel that I'm doing my part by having my coven, doing community things, but I also focus on my children, because I have a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old, and they're still at home, and they're very smart, and they're of a generation that's very aware of everything because they have access to it on the computer
all the time.
All the
things
time.
all of us growing up, we didn't have.
We never had that access.
Oh,
No,
I mean, constantly connected. No,
and there's wonderful things about that. There's wonderful things, and I like to say ignorance is bliss, but at the same time, I often complain, my kids are seeing all this stuff, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, they're seeing all this stuff, and they're speaking up about it, and they're saying that's not right. And when my kids come to me and say that's bullshit, then we get to talk about it.
It opens a dialogue.
It opens up a dialogue. And so even if you feel that your voice doesn't matter, any of our viewers that watch and say, well, there's nothing I do, it does, because what are you doing at home? What are you doing to create, because we create our reality, we manifest, even if you don't believe in magic, even people who don't believe in manifestation, they manifest their lives all the time.
Well, it's simple as mindset. If you're constantly negative things are going to happen.
Negative things will happen.
If you're more positive things are going to happen. Your polarization is what draws.
Yeah.
No, I talked to this. One of the things I like about my practice, or my therapy practice, is that I'm able to bring my universal worldview to the table, and I share those lessons of positive brings positive, negative brings negative. What do you want in your reality?
Yes. And it's so true. And we do. And I think that I always say there's a spiritual revolution that's going to happen. And I feel, aren't we in the age of Aquarius
we
right now?
We just left the age of man, and we've stepped into the age of Aquarius, and that was the transformation you were talking in 99, 2000.
Yeah.
Is when we did the crossover. The world flipped over first, and we have been slowly dragging along. But look at the expansion of the non-traditional Judeo-Christian faiths. Since this has happened, you've seen the expansion of Wicca, paganism, old time religion, so to speak.
Yeah.
And respect for the matriarchy, that there needs to be a balance between the two, not one or the other, but both.
Both. And I feel that we are coming into that where people are looking for answers in places that maybe they never thought they would look for answers. Yeah. And that makes me excited, and that makes me optimistic. So I am also an optimist like you are. I still think that there is hope for us. I feel that I see it and feel it around me, especially us connecting through the internet, and everyone is starting to connect in that way, and that's what Hecate Sickle is going to be about. It's about that technomancy and about that online magic and what we do, and
new connection abilities that were never available prior to this.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm sorry. I'm not saying sorry. This was a great conversation. I just feel like
good stuff.
You've got a lot of things. So I want to talk about, do you have, before we wrap up, because we're coming up on an hour, do you have anything that you want to share with us, or like, the leadership?
Yes, I do want to mention that.
Yes.
Okay, so we will have a leadership. So Hecate Sickle happens in October, and then the beginning of February, first weekend in February, we will have a leadership conference, and the theme this year is meet our elders. So this is an opportunity to, who are the people that came before us? Who are the people that are willing to share their wisdom, that have walked this path, learned these lessons, and what can they share with us? After you've served for so many years, sometimes you get a little tired, or you step back, and that wisdom, we need to honor it and tap into it.
Yeah.
Because why recreate the wheel?
Yeah.
Let's grow from what they've already done. Let's recognize that. Let's use those resources that they provide for us.
Yeah.
So so we're going to do that. We're going to learn about our elders. We're going to have an awards show. So to recognize contributions of different folks. We will have workshops and hopefully entertainment. We'll have rituals and devotionals, and it should be a really nice community coming together.
Do you have a platform that we're going to connect on, or a website or anything yet, or is that in the works?
That's in the works. We'll create a website. Will go up on ATC Wicca, so check there occasionally, and it'll probably be on Teams, I suspect.
If you need anyone to help with workshops or connect with people, that is my.
She doesn't paint.
That's my
I
gift.
was counting on that.
I think it was implied, honey.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't want to assume.
Oh no! I was like, yay! I got a Lola and a Phil too.
And you're kind of voluntold, anyways, without being voluntold.
No, if Stacia sends something and says, "Can you do this?" I'm like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm really excited. I was so happy that you said yes.
Oh my God, I'm really excited.
We see the smile on your face right now. So.
I just want to contribute wherever I can. Let's do something fun real quick. Do you have a fun story about you and Bella?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Oh, I know.
Okay.
There's one that. Okay, it was so fun. We got to be. It was Maiden, and we were sirens, and sirens tend to be a little bloodthirsty, and so we had all of our community members, and Bella and I got to kill everybody. It was great fun. I mean, and I'm remembering back to when I was invoked, and of course, trying to slow me down a little bit, but I'm like, it was. She and I had really good fun killing all of our community.
Bella told a story, and she told it in front of you, so I'm not betraying any trust. She had said that she has never, because you guys practice in circle together, and obviously we do Skyclad, and she said she saw your beautiful. That's why I say your beautiful alabaster skin, because this is from Bella. You know what I'm gonna say, right?
I do. She tells this story, and I used to turn beet red.
She did, so I'm going to make you beet red again. She tells this story about seeing Stacia in circle with that beautiful figure and that beautiful alabaster skin, and Bella wanted so bad to be like, I hate you. And to hear Bella say that, it's funny, because Bella is she's Bella,
She's so beautiful, and so she's goddess. Yeah.
I mean, when Phil first saw Bella,
look at her cheeks.
I know you're turning red.
Is that
the wine? Is that the wine or embarrassing story?
Or a little bit of both.
I don't know. We'll just go whichever one you want to choose.
When Phil first saw Bella, he then understood. He was like, she walked in, and it was like this smile and the hair and everything, and I'm just like, yeah, that's Bella. So, but to have Bella say that about you, it was like, I love that story. That's why I talk about your alabaster skin.
Oh, thank you. No, it's truly, so many experiences I had with Bella were sacred. So many. I mean, she's fun. One of the things I appreciate about Bella is I tend to be more of a reserved person. And Bella, she says the things I wish I could say. Yes. So she'll say things that just amuse me to no end. And I'm delighted that she gets away with it. She does. She says these things I'd never think to say. I would love to say, but never think to say. And everybody laughs, and they think, oh, she's so funny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she got away with saying that. But it's wonderful.
My rising sign is Leo. Does that make sense to you?
It's so much sense. Yes, it does. It really does.
Yes, and I
Yes.
grew up with 2 Leo parents, so I get it, and I had a lot of very good friends that were Leos. So yeah, I understand the Leo aspect. So shall
But
we?
I'm sorry.
Oh no, please go.
No, I was just going to say, I have heard Goddess speak through her so many times and say things that Bella didn't say. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to go to graduate school. Bella didn't want. Bella had, she thought other things would be better, and Goddess told me to go. And yeah,
Yeah. Well,
so
and we talked
deity
about,
speaks through her.
yes, Goddess speaks, and
She's a vessel for sure.
yeah, Bella's a vessel, but I think Bella's just become very confident in her vesselhood. I don't know what word to use. Comfortable, confident. But we all have that. When Goddess speaks to us, we need to listen, because when we look back and we say, I didn't listen to Goddess, it's basically saying I didn't listen to my intuition. I
was given all the signs, but I was being stubborn and prideful.
Yeah.
No, I do that too still. Yeah. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. So honoring your intuition, honoring that voice, listening to the voice that comes from here.
Yeah.
Listen to that voice. That's deity speaking through you when it comes from here and through you.
Well, mine that comes back here is Hecate always hitting me on the freaking head all the time.
That 2x4?
The 2x4, she just goes, and I'm like, okay, jeez.
I'm just like, okay, I hear you. I got it this time.
I got a headache now.
I get it.
All right, so thank you so much, Stacia. This was so fun. Did you enjoy yourself?
This was fun.
Oh, good.
Thank you. I did. This is great.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
So we try to just have fun and just have a conversation with a friend, and wherever it goes, so be it.
The concept of witches and wine was about being a fly on the wall when a bunch of witches drink and talk to each other. And so that's fun. That's kind of the concept we have. So we try to carry that out. It's just kind of like we forget that people are watching and we're just talking and drinking wine and having a good time. So we really appreciate you being on this show. I miss you, Stacia. I
love you guys.
I love you so much. You have been one of my favorite mentors, and you've taught me so much. And it means
thank you. I'm honored.
To me. And so anyone who wants to know anything more about our show, if anyone wants to be a guest, if you just have questions for us, you can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
What was that again?
That was crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, everyone, please be kind to one another and always walk with the Goddess. And until next time, blessed be. Have a wonderful night, you guys.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Bye, everyone.